You want to know what's the worst job in journalism right now? Pool reporter for the Trump transition. Now, why do I say that? Because I get the pool reports. And every half hour or so, these fine, upstanding journalists who are camped out for hours and hours in the lobby of Trump Tower are sending these notes like, well, we just saw Steve Bannon walk by, got in the elevator, wouldn't talk to us. Hey, Ted Cruz just showed up. Kellyanne Conway was here. She said she didn't have much to report on the transition. They're getting nothing, but they got to stay there for hours and hours and hours. Now, look, it's not like having to go to Plains, Georgia, as reporters did during the Carter administration, or even Crawford, Texas, during the Bush administration, and wait around for the president to make some news. And I think the reporters usually stayed in Waco. You know, you're in Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue in New York City. It's not that terrible. But it is frustrating because the whole media world right now is focused on, you know, the infighting and who's going to get which position. Is it really going to be Rudy or John Bolton for Secretary of State? And who's going to get some of these other jobs? And who's going to be in the White House? And who's going to take over the Pentagon? We all want to know. And I don't think most of the decisions have been made. And by the way, all these stories in New York Times and elsewhere about what a messy transition. Well, yeah, it's true. You know, Mike Pence took over for Chris Christie. A couple of people have quit. All transitions are messy. There's always intense jockeying. Nobody will care by January. No one will care by Thanksgiving when these key positions are finally filled. But coming back to the pool reporters, the worst situation they had was Trump ducked out on them. Trump decided, the president-elect decided, that he was going to go take his family out to dinner, which seems like a reasonable thing to do. There was a rumor that he's at a steakhouse, so they all went running over to the steakhouse. He wasn't there. It turns out he was dining at the 21 Club, but when they got there, they weren't allowed to stand outside the restaurant, and one of the reporters was made to stand next to a dumpster. Isn't it glamorous being a big-time political reporter? Now, there's a serious issue here, which is the reason these protective pools follow the president-elect and later the president of the United States is it's a body wash. It's in case something terrible happens, you want the press to be in place. Now, I'm sure most Americans would say, let Donald Trump take Melania to dinner, and you don't have to be following him. It's not like you're sitting at the next table. You wait outside. And the same thing is true. You wait outside when they play golf. You're always sort of waiting outside just in case. If the president-elect tries to do this in the White House, there will be a hue and cry from the media because, you know, it's one thing to be a candidate and not have reporters traveling on your plane. It's another thing to be the president of the United States and decide you want some alone time and the press has no idea where you are. Now, Donald Trump can do it. There's no law or rule preventing him from doing it, but it is a long-standing tradition that I think at times, you know, it may be 1 out of 100 times where something unexpected or newsworthy happens, but it is a good tradition to have the press in place. Meanwhile, my heart goes out to these Trump Tower people that's stranded there trying to get some news. Eventually, as this process goes on, they'll actually get some news and we'll get to see it.